Hey everyone. This is kind of a surprise here. I'm back to the old days when we were down in lockdown. I'm here in my home office. Actually, it's my wife's office. All her stuff is pretty much in here. I have like a little in here. But anyway, but I used to have to record all my lessons. I would do about 15 minutes for each class here. And I just realized, I realized a couple of days ago that there was something I forgot to talk to you guys about that I actually did with my other two classes on Wednesday, and I wanted to make sure to go ahead and go over this with you guys. I'm sorry, on Friday before you guys left. I was wondering why did I feel that class went by so quickly, and then I realized there was some stuff that I forgot. So let me just go over very quickly, especially as I'm starting to get some specific purpose statements in. I want to make sure that you're fully prepared, and we talk, about what you need to have. Now, one of the things that I missed saying the other day was the fact that as we're now coming up with a persuasive speech, you're coming up with not your two main points in your body are now going to be two solid reasons why we should agree with you, or two solid reasons why we should take the action you want us to take. Now, when you do that, okay, when you're gathering information from your three sources, and remember, you still have to have at least three sources, it's not supportive material like you used for your informative speech, supportive material that helped to inform or educate your audience. What you're now gathering, though, is information that will be used to help to influence your audience, to help to persuade your audience. And of course, what that's now called is evidence. Okay? You are now gathering evidence. And there are several different types of evidence that you can gather. And although all your sample outlines have some great examples, one of my favorites, I had this kid several years ago, did a speech. After listening to my speech, my audience will agree with me that we should fully legalize marijuana. And usually when guys, do that speech, I typically get your stoner, They'll just get up in front of the class and be like, yo, man, I want to legalize weed so I can smoke. Thank you for listening. And that's their entire speech. But this guy he actually dressed up for his speech, very well dressed, and he was very well spoken. But what's more is he brought solid evidence to back him up. One of his main points was he talked about how, that little chemical that produces the munchies in weed. Well, that chemical, when marijuana is smoked by cancer patients, a lot of people, and he really related well to his audience here, because we all know someone, have known someone, or know someone who's suffered through cancer and had to go through chemotherapy. And one of the things about chemotherapy is people who take chemo, a lot of them will recover, but it's painful because they lose their appetite, or any food they have comes up. And that chemical in marijuana that produces the munchies not only helps chemo patients regain their appetite, but actually keep food down. And then his second main point, he talked about actual cops. And he cited several police sources and these were legitimate sources, law enforcement sources, where police officers actually support the legalization of marijuana. And then his final main point just blew everybody away, where he talked about how you could never actually overdose on marijuana. And that according to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, such and such people have overdosed on alcohol over the last year, just drinking too much in one setting, alcohol poisoning. People who have overdosed on a narcotic drug, but yet not one person ever has overdosed on marijuana. And it was just amazing, his point. But he brought forth solid evidence, all right? So that's what you're doing when you're going for your three main points. And again, your 5 samples have great examples of people gathering evidence to help support whatever their specific purpose statement is. Another thing I wanted to talk about that I missed talking about the other day is, yes, you have to have at least 3 sources. But for this speech, if you would like, one of your sources can be a personal interview, all right? A lot of times you may come across someone who's a professional in the field, and they may be someone who can really bring forth a lot of really solid evidence. One of my favorites used to be a sample outline, but somebody got sticky fingers and walked away with it. Had a young lady who did her speech about after listening to my speech, my audience will donate blood. And she was a regular blood donor, so she felt really strongly about it. And what she did is she actually talked to the branch manager, a guy named Gary. And she got a ton of great information from Gary, and why not? He's the branch manager. He knows about it. For some who may know, the building doesn't exist anymore, the building is there. It used to be an American Red Cross blood donation building. It's a brick building that's right behind where Stop and Shop used to be. Remember Route 17 used to have a Kmart and a Stop and Shop, and then the Kmart was turned into like an indoor arena. And I think it's now going to become something else. But otherwise, that brick building that was right behind where that Stop and Shop used to be on Route 17 in Paramus, that used to be the American Red Cross Blood Donation Center. So she talked to him and he gave her great information. But you don't even have to go that far. Like, say, for example, remember the one I said my father did listen to? After listening to my speech, my audience will agree with me that spanking is detrimental to children. Well, hell, you want to get some solid evidence from a personal interview? Go on your portal. Go into your catalog. See who's teaching Psych 201 next semester. Of course, Psych 201 is child psychology. We have people on campus with PhDs teaching child psychology. Find their email. Maybe where their office is, you're going to go during their office hours, ask for 5 minutes of their time. They'll give you 25 minutes, and you'll have a great, great source. Well, I'll give you one more. Students in the past, after listening to my speech, my audience will begin an exercise program. Who do they go see? Well, they go down to the Wellness and Exercise Science Department, which is right above the gym. And one of my best friends on campus is Professor Julie Sita. Now, what does Julie Sita do for a living? She is one of the Wellness and Exercise Science professors. She's married, has 2 young boys, and what does she do on her off time when she's not with the boys? She runs triathlons, all right? Julie is a terrific source for a lot of stuff when it comes to exercise and nutrition. Ask Julie for 5 minutes of her time, she'll give you 45 minutes, okay? And don't ever tell you drink soda. She thinks soda is the devil. But Julie also helps me a lot with the Hero 5K. Actually, she runs it herself. She's a great source. So a personal interview, it could be a professional. It's got to be someone who's an expert in the field, but you may not have to go that far outside the door of our own classroom to find people who are experts. The last thing, and this is something that I think that you already got a hint of when I was telling you, whether I was talking about Brittany or I was talking about, oh my God, her name just blanked me. Tiffany. Is that for this speech, I wanted you to avoid this. I really wanted you to avoid this in the first speech, but now I encourage, if you want to, you can now relay a personal experience. God, don't you just love my special effects? But yeah, a lot of times a personal experience will go a long way to helping to demonstrate your great knowledge of this topic. So, and a lot of students, you could do it anywhere in the speech, but a lot of students like to do it in the attention gainer. It really grabs the audience attention, demonstrates that they do have great knowledge of this topic as they begin to try to influence you on it, to try to get you to agree with them or get you to do something. So I wanted to do that. I forgot to talk about this on Friday, and I really am sorry. But hey, you still got a whole week before I see you again. So get those specific purpose statements to me. Start working on those speeches. And we'll see you when I see you. Have a great Thanksgiving, people.